Welcome to this Get to Know episode 3. Today's episode is the UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship. So, what is the UFC? It's the world's leading professional mixed martial arts, which is MMA organization, hosting fights in an eight-sided cage called the Octagon, where athletes from various disciplines like wrestling, boxing, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, which is other disciplines, compete under file rules, which we'll get to the rules. It was founded in November 12th of 1993, which is 32 years ago. The founders of this organization were Art Davie, Bobby Mayroworth, Campbell McLaurin, David Osagelos, John Milius, and Ronan Garcia. The key people who for this company, by the way, you got Ari Emanuel, who is the CEO TKO Group Holdings, and the man who does the matches, the man who's in charge of all the matches, make sure that these matches will take place as a big main event. And that is Dana White, who is the president and the CEO of the UFC. Now, there are some divisions in this. So you got the UFC Apex, UFC Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, UFC Fight Pass, UFC Performance Institutional, which, listen, I'm not going to go all these divisions. I'm just going to be talking about what's the biggest UFC fighting. So, for example, on January 26, 2026, will be the debut UFC event at Paramount Plus. Remember, they had their broadcasting from ESPN, which came to an end this month. So they're now excited for this new era of Ultimate Fighting Championship Network that is now heading to Paramount Plus. So mark your calendars. January 26, 2026. I will be doing a predictions video before that UFC main fight. So there are some famous boxers. You can look at guys like a Mike Tyson, a Conor McGregor. Those are guys that are really good boxers, by the way. They're really good, by the way. Of course, you got some guys like Jake Paul, Logan Paul. There's guys like Joshua Anderson who knocked Jake Paul and broke his jaw, which I did not watch the fight, but I saw the highlights, and boy, Jake Paul had to get 2 metal plates on that jaw, and it was not good for Jake. But he's getting better. So what's going on at the famous ones? So who's currently famous right now? So on the men's side, we'll give it to Aslam Akamvigwa. Sorry if I don't pronounce your last name. Please apologize. I do want to apologize for you guys. But Aslam, he's 28-1. He's on a 16-game winning streak, and he is the current weatherweight champion, who is the best boxer, number 1 in the UFC rankings. Right, there are some underdogs and fan favorites. Alex Pereira is one of them, 13-3. He's on a 1-game win streak, and he's the light heavyweight champion of the world. On the women's, there's a lot of good women in boxing. Of course, you can list some great legends in the women's. One of them I remember is Ronda Rousey, who had some great moments in the UFC. And yes, she's also Hollywood Studio, WWE, but this is UFC. She's a boxer, a very good boxer in UFC. But what's going on since her? Well, since she's not in the boxing anymore, I'm guessing she's retiring at the UFC. You have Kayla Harrison, who's 19-1. 19-1, four winning streak, and she is the bantamweight champion of the world. But the number one women's UFC fighter is Valiente Shevchenko, who is 26-4, 1, 3 wins so far in her boxing streak. She is currently the flyweight champion, and Valiente, yeah, reason why she's number one is she can fight. She can fight when in that octagon. So this is where the rules come in. Here are the rules, how this works. So we'll start with rounds first. For rounds, non-title fights are 3 rounds. So for example, if I were to let's do a dream matchup, shall we? If it is Conor McGregor versus John Jones, and if it's a non-title match, it's 3 rounds. 3 title fights are 5 rounds, each 5 minutes long with 1 minute break. So if we have a title match, for example, we'll go Kayla Harrison versus Valiente, and that's a 5-round match, and it's 5 minutes long, and it's 1 minute break. So once that 5 minutes time is up, each opponent will go to their corners. They will get a water break while their team, they clean the blood or try to get him some hey, how do you want to get his weakness? That's how this works for the rounds. Scoring, there are 3 judges at scoring using the 10-point must system. So if they get the 10 points, they're the winners. If it's 9 or fewer, loser, which also potential deduction for fouls, which we'll get to the fouls. Scoring, 3 judges use winning. The only way you can win in a boxing match is a KO, a TKO, a submission, or decision. Now here are the fouls. So the fouls are strikes like groin, back of the head and spine, throat, eye gouging, biting, stomping, a grounding opponent, 12-6, quote, 12-6 elbows, knees to the head of a grounded opponent. So there you go. Gasping, you got hair pulling, grabbing the cage's shorts, quote, fish hackling, which is also fingers in mouth and noses, or mouth and nose. Others are small joint manipulation, which is fingers and toes, escaping opponent on their head, attacking artificial. So there's a lot of fouls for this. Now there was one I think Jake Paul talked about Logan Paul, excuse me. Logan Paul talked about this in the Impulsive podcast. Go check him out. He said about the poking in the eye should have been a foul. And he's been a boxer before. Of course, he has some wins in his resume, but there's some lose in his resume. But respectable boxer and respectable WWE wrestler as of right now. But he did mention about the poking in the eye. I do think that's also a foul. If you do poke on the opponent's eye, it will probably count as a foul, and you probably will get a deduction for that. That's it for the UFC preview video. Get to know the UFC. Episode 4 will be WNBA, and for the women, I cannot wait to talk about this because it's not like the NBA for the men's, respect to the men's, but we also need to respect the women of the sports, WNBA. That's tomorrow's episode. If you have not seen my other videos, go check them out on my channel. Of course, if you have not seen my last 2 get to know episodes, go check them out in my Welcome to 2026 playlist. Again, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for more sports news.